5 years ago today, Myanmar forces began a brutal, systematic attack against Rohingya men, women, and children in Rakhine State. 5 years later, it is long past time to call these attacks what they are: genocide. For the world to redouble its effort at holding the perpetrators of these attacks accountable, and to give the Rohingya inside and outside of Myanmar the attention, resources, and support that they need and deserve. Beginning late at night on August 24th, 2017, and lasting for weeks, Myanmar forces planned and executed attacks that resulted in the widespread and targeted killing of Rohingya civilians, the systematic violence and looting, burning, and razing of entire Rohingya villages. Myanmar forces murdered thousands of Rohingya and forced over 700,000 to flee for their lives into Bangladesh. The horrific attacks that we remember and commemorate today followed decades of bigotry and discrimination, the denial of civil and political rights, brutal physical attacks, and the perpetuation of hate speech intended to dehumanize the Rohingya. Prior to my appointment as UN Special Rapporteur, and before the genocidal attacks, I conducted multiple fact-finding trips to Rakhine State, witnessing firsthand the oppressive conditions Rohingya were living in and the denial of basic rights that they had to endure. I visited what is and what remains to this day effectively a concentration camp or ghetto, where over 120,000 Rohingya are confined in Sitwe. I remember a man telling me that if the world would not help to free them from the camps, then to please bomb them, as death would be preferable to the horrible conditions that he and his family were forced to endure. I met with a man on one trip to Rakhine in 2014 who was in need of routine medication. When I returned months later, his wife told me that her husband had perished because the Myanmar authorities had expelled foreign medical workers, denying him the basic care that was literally a matter of life and death. I tell this story because I want to make clear that the Rohingya genocide happened not just in August of 2017, but over years. The planning was detailed and long-ranged. As we commemorate these attacks today, we must not lose sight of the situation of the Rohingya still inside of Myanmar. All aspects of their lives remain heavily controlled by the military, and they are systematically denied their basic rights. And of course, we must not lose our focus on the more than 1 million Rohingya survivors who are living in Bangladesh. I have been to the camps in Cox's Bazar and to Bhashan Char, meeting with hundreds of survivors. The Rohingya in Bangladesh continue to live with the trauma of what they witnessed, by the deaths of their loved ones, by the loss of their community and the loss of their homes, by the attempted destruction of their very identity. Life in Bangladesh is very difficult. Rohingya are unable to return home, confined to very cramped camps, often lacking security and unable to pursue their livelihood. Make no mistake, the Myanmar military bears the blame for the Rohingya situation in Bangladesh. But I call on the international community to strengthen its support for the Rohingya who are living in camps in Bangladesh today. This needs to be done through robust funding that ensures access to quality, inclusive humanitarian services, to healthcare, and to educational opportunities, to skills development, and livelihood opportunities until they can finally return home. The safe, voluntary, and sustainable repatriation of Rohingya back to their homes in Rakhine State is a goal that many share. Unfortunately, that goal seems more further away now than ever before. The very same military and its top general that directed the genocidal attacks against the Rohingya are now trying to bring the entire nation to its knees following the attempted coup in February of 2021. This is why accountability is so important. The Myanmar military has yet to be held to account for the ultimate crime, genocide. It is no wonder then that they have had the audacity to imprison and indeed execute democracy and human rights advocates and elected leaders while engaging in yet more atrocity crimes against the people of Myanmar. And so it is critical that once and for all, the international community hold those who are responsible for this horror fully accountable. I stand in awe of those Rohingya survivors, activists, and human rights defenders who, despite their circumstances, are working together with international lawyers to creatively pursue justice in diverse jurisdictions, including the International Court of Justice. To complement these tireless efforts, I call on the international community to do its part and refer the situation to the International Criminal Court without delay, to bring universal jurisdiction cases where possible, and to put the maximum pressure on this brutal military through economic and diplomatic measures. As we mark this dark anniversary, let us all commit ourselves to standing with and for the Rohingya, to join in solidarity with them in not only words, but more importantly, with action. The Rohingya, both inside and outside of Myanmar, need and deserve the support of the international community. They need and deserve justice. They need and deserve an international community that is prepared to provide them with the support and the resources to not only survive, but to rebuild their lives. The Rohingya deserve nothing less. Thank you.